Mahina yata yung ano. Mahina.
Hello, hello.
Okay, magandang umaga sa inyong lahat. Welcome to our Saturday News Forum. For today, we have Tingog Party List Representative Jude Asidre. Ibigyan niya tayo ng update sa House preparations for the Senate impeachment trial ni VP Sara Duterte. He can also update us on the current legislative priorities ng House. We also have Carlo Flores. He is the Executive Director of Team Pinas, convener ng Bantay Senate Initiative, which is an NGO project which seeks to monitor yung impeachment trial and inform the public on what is happening on a daily basis on habang every time magkaroon ng trial. Inintay natin si Octa Research Fellow and UP Professor Ajit Singh Rai. Tatanungin natin siya sa results ng kanilang latest survey on public perception of VP Sara, of the impeachment trial of VP Sara. At yung pwede rin natin tanungin dun sa kung ano yung take nila dun sa recent survey din na bumaba yung rating ni PBBM. Anyway, let's start with Tingog Party List Representative Jude Asidre. Ano yung basically preparation na ginagawa ng House ngayon?
Magandang umaga po sa lahat. Thank you for having me here once again. No, these past few weeks have been quite interesting for the country, especially with the recent events in the other chamber. Pero kami sa Kongreso, in the House of Representatives, we've been very focused on the preparations for the impeachment trial sa Senate. In fact, the prosecutors have started their preparations, yung pag-aaral, as well as our continued engagement. Kasi hindi lang naman sa Kongreso at sa Senado ang pinag-uusapan. We also have our continued engagement with civil society, with the other stakeholders. Para nga sa paniniwala ng Kongreso, ito yung isang usapin na hindi lamang nakalimita sa Senado. Kaya tuloy-tuloy din ang paghahanda, hindi lang ho sa mga prosecutor na ginagawa po ngayon, yung binabalikan ho lahat yung sa ebidensya na nailahad ng clarificatory hearings. Nandun din yung ating pagkuha ng mas malakas na suporta maging sa ibang sektor na interesado at nagmamatyag din sa kalalabasan nitong impeachment trial sa Senado, which is for me very important, no? Kasi in the end, it's so easy to turn this political because it's anyway, in the first place, admitted it's a political process. But as I've always said, it's very important to put this in the context of our overall governance. Diba? Gaano ba kahalaga na may impeachment tayo? Kasi mahalagang may pananagutan ang mga nasa paglilingkod bayan. Hindi lang ho natin pwedeng baliwala lang natin ang isang ang katulad nitong mga akusasyon, itong mga reklamo, itong mga ebidensya na naipakita dahil lang sa kalagayan ng politika natin. I know the country is facing so many challenges at the moment. We've also buckled up on making sure that we have a strong legislative action framework on how to respond to the emergencies. In fact, we just voted on we are about to vote on we voted in second reading House Bill 8834, yung Kalinga Bill, that would present the response, the overall response to the ongoing crisis, but not only to the ongoing crisis, but for every crisis na pwede nating kaharapin bilang bansa. Katulad nitong nangyaring oil crisis kamakailan. Nandyan po yung paano natin ma-maintain yung presyo, may stabilize natin yung presyo ng gasolina. Nandyan din po yung pagsisigurado na meron tayong epektibong survey and resource management system. Nandiyan din po yung masigurado natin na efficient po at targeted ang pagbibigay po natin ng tulong sa mga vulnerable sector at maging pagsigurado na kahit may emergency ay hindi po naapektuhan adversely ang ating logistics at supply chain management. Ito po yung nagpapakita na ang Kongreso hindi lang ho tayo nakatutok dun sa mas maingay na aspeto ng mga kalagayan ng bansa natin, katulad ng impeachment. Pero hindi ho natin napapabayaan din yung kabuang tungkulin natin na maglingkod sa bayan, which is, I think, a good indication of how the House of Representatives takes seriously its role, not only in the impeachment trial, but also in the overall task of governance.
Ganun pangamba na nagtutuon daw ng pansin ang Kongreso sa impeachment samantalang maraming problema ang bansa. Usually, nanggagaling ang narrative niya sa kabila. Anong reaction niyo sa sabi ng survey? Overwhelming majority ng mga Pilipino gusto na matuloy ang impeachment at malaman kung anong ebidensya.
Yan nga di po ang isa po sa tinitignan ng Kamara noon. Tinitignan natin na lalo na after ng clarificatory hearings, halos dumoble o trumiple ang interest. At hindi lang ho interest, yung kagustuhang malaman kung paano mariresolba itong impeachment process na sinimulan po sa House of Representatives. Ako, simple lang ho ang pananaw ko dyan. Alam ho natin na maraming problema ang bansang hinaharap natin, no? At hindi ho naman nagkukulang ang Kongreso. Pero in the scale of things, no, naniniwala tayo na ang accountability is basically very essential to the quality of governance that we have in the country. Diba? Kung hindi natin kayang panagutin ang mga nasa kapangyarihan, magiging mahirap na mapapanagot natin sila sa, for example, sa quality ng governance, sa delivery of social services. So I think that's very clear, no, na hindi ito, kumbaga, itong impeachment process, hindi ito salungat, hindi ito hiwalay sa dapat naming ginagawa bilang mga mambabatas, bilang miyembro ng Kamara. Hindi ito parang I love you more, I love you less. 'Di ba? Hindi kami kailangan mamili. Oh, 'di ba? So parehong kailangan gawin, parehong kailangan bigyan ng atensyon, kailangan parehong bigyan ng effort, no? Kasi in the end, ang taong bayan din naman ang kailangan natin kumbaga i-fulfill yung obligasyon natin sa kanila.
Kahapon ba, nagbigay ng pahayag ang Pangulo na hindi pahayag, lamentation kung ano ang nangyayari sa Senado. With all this, ano po ang, siguro, kaya ano ko na lang, kasi nasa side ka ng prosecution eh. There is a thing as sub judice sa regular na korte. Doon to kung anong tawag pagka sa impeachment court. Kayo na lang po sa Tindig Pinas. Ano yung reaction ninyo na mismong ang Pangulo nagpahayag ng tila politicking is too much in the Senate, to say the least?
Magandang umaga po. Una, hindi po ko taga-Tindig Pinas po.
Pinas.
Pero, yes, opo. Pero kaibigan naman natin ng mga sinusuportahan din na yung pinaglalaban ng mga kaibigan natin sa Tindig Pinas, no? Yun na nga, no, yung tinitingin namin dito sa Bantay Senado Network na initiate ng Team Pinas ay sobrang dami ng ingay, no, na lagi nilang pinapahid na issue ng politika yan, marami pang dapat intindihin. Ang Bantay Senado, ang pinapaalala natin na talagang bantayan natin ang mga proseso na dapat gawin. No, na tarang sobra na no? Nakakaladkad na yung legislation, yung mga institusyon na dapat tinitingala ng ating mga mamamayan. Kaya ang Bantay Senado Network, tinayo natin para paalala lang na tingin lang tayo sa batas, sa konstitusyon, tsaka ano yung responsibilidad ng prosekusyon ng mga senador at mahalaga ang responsibilidad ng taong bayan.
Itatanong ko sana kay Congressman Asidre, pero nirestrain ko ang sarili ko. Ayokong magkaroon ng unnecessary rift sa pagitan ng mga congressman at saka ng mga senador. Kayo ba'y umaasa na magiging patas pa? At is a good numbers. A good number ng mga senador, considering na pinakita yung...
Ako sa totoo naman ako ay naniniwala na may tiwala pa naman ako na sa kaparehong paraan na ginampanan ho ng mga miyembro ng Kamara ang aming role sa prosesong ito, ay gagampanan din naman ng mga senador ang kanilang role no under the Constitution to serve as the impeachment court. I don't see any reason to doubt that at the moment. Ang worry ko lang is kung sa lahat ng ingay na ito, hindi kaya ma-distract ang taong bayan. Di ba? It's really more of paano natin ma-establish yung... Kasi technically, they cannot derail it. We're all duty-bound. In the same way that kami sa House, we had no choice but we were bound by the constitutional process to initiate the impeachment after may nagsampa ng complaint. Ako naniniwala na gagawin at walang choice ang Senado kundi gawin at gampanan ang tungkulin nila. Klaro yon. Pero itong mga ingay ng individual senators na lang sabihin natin, no? At kung ano pang mga nangyayari ngayon sa political scene natin, sana hindi ito maging, kumbaga, rason to muddle the issue, di ba? Kasi hindi rin makakatulong sa mga kababayan natin, sa mga nanunood.
Subcommittee to be chaired by Senator Marcoleta. Sabi ni Marcoleta, i-isasama niya si Trillanes, DOJ, tsaka NBI. To siguro explain their side on the recent
Ako, I would,
Senate. How would you interpret this development?
Ako, I would react with caution, no? Kasi I'm not so sure how they do their process sa Senate. Pero ang pagkakaalam ko, katulad sa amin sa Kongreso, the one who creates the subcommittee is the mother committee, hindi plenary. The plenary organizes the mother committees, and then the mother committee, kumbaga ito in this case, the Blue Ribbon, is supposed to be the one to create the subcommittee. It's unheard of sa House na gagawa ng subcommittee for that purpose. And in any case, all of these actions have to be approved on the floor sa plenary, which I'd like to presume hindi naman sila nag-session mula ng Webes, di ba? So I would want to withhold my reaction on whether it is in accordance with the rules or not. No, kaya gusto kong antayin until Monday kung how the plenary of the Senate will deal with that. Pero sasagutin ko na rin yung tanong mo. Pareho ako ng katanungan ng marami, no? Na bakit kaya pinipilit nila na gawin to sa panahong ito ngayon, di ba? Alam naman natin kung ano at saan nakatuon ang atensyon ng taong bayan, at ngayon kailangan nilang buksan ulit kung saan ayaw naman nilang pirmahan yung partial report na tinapos ni Senator Lacson. Why the sudden shift? Why the sudden urgency? Hindi siguro natin makakailan na maisip ng ibang tao. Kami siguro sa Kamara at marami kaming mga kasamahan ang nagtatanong bakit pinipilit ngayon. Total, nandyan na rin naman ang proseso sa Ombudsman, which is the proper forum. And I think everybody will agree that that is a proper forum, no? The Ombudsman at the moment, because cases have started to be filed. Hindi mo maiwasang isipin ba na ginagawa ba nila ito para sa umaga, babalikan nila lahat yung mga miyembro ng Kamara, yung mga nasa executive agencies, para sa hapon sa impeachment, medyo nawawala kami, nakakalampag kami sa impeachment court. Wag naman usa ng ganun, di ba? Ginagawa ba to para to undermine the impeachment process? Kung hindi mo man mapipigilan yung impeachment trial from proceeding, baka iniisip nila pwedeng sige, guluhin na lang natin, di ba? So, I think that is those are valid questions that needs to be answered. I'm not saying that we should escape accountability, but we allow the proper forum to take over the process of exacting accountability. Kasi kung sa Senado rin lang naman, may senador din kasi na kasama sa mga inaakusahan. Kaparehong, kung kami, hindi rin naman siguro matutuwa ang taong bayan na kami rin ang mag-iimbestiga sa mga kasamahan namin sa House. And precisely the reason bakit the House decided to defer the role of the investigation sa ombudsman. I think the process of searching for accountability, of exacting accountability should proceed, should continue. Pero ang tanong ko dapat it should be on the basis of evidence, it should be on the basis of the rule of law, and it should not be used as a mechanism to deflect attention from the ongoing impeachment trial. Because in the end, accountability din yun eh. You cannot undermine that, di ba? So, yun lang yung punto ko regarding dun sa pag-create ng subcommittee.
Parang disappears to me na parang underhanded effort to turn the tables on the minority, di ba?
Hindi
And
lang
seize
ako.
the political initiative.
Siguro may ganun silang dynamics sa Senate, no? Sila siguro ang makakasagot nun yung current majority at current minority. Pero kami kasi alam naman ho ng lahat na may mga akusasyon sa mga miyembro ng Kamara. At sa hapon, kung sakaling mangyari man to, tuloy-tuloy, gagampanan ng mga miyembro ng Kamara ang role bilang prosecutors, di ba? So there will always be that institutional tension that we would want to avoid at the moment, given the gravity of the impeachment trial. I don't think, no, as I've always said, lahat tayo gusto ng accountability, pero hindi mangyayari ang accountability kung uunahin natin yung politika. Hindi mangyayari ang accountability kung gagamitin natin ito to the political advantage of one group over the other. Kasi sa totoo lang, ang mas malaking tanong, pag nagsimula ng Blue Ribbon Subcommittee investigation sa Senate, sa Blue Ribbon Subcommittee, no? Ang malaking katanungan doon, sino magbibenepisyo eh? Kaninong naratibo ang mangingibabaw, di ba? So, the people we have to be very clear. And in the end, no, the shortcuts will not serve our ultimate purpose of exacting accountability, whether in the case of the flood control problem or scandal, or in the case of the impeachment.
Kong, good morning po. Ang problema dun sa konsepto ng accountability, plakado siya dun sa kinakailangang makonvict yung pangalawang Pangulo. With the current dynamics sa Senado, ibig bang sabihin nito kung may problema yung mekanismo kung sakasakaling hindi magtagumpay?
Ayaw kong pangunahan kung anong mangyayari sa proseso ng impeachment. Kasi katulad niya ng sinabi ko dati sa ibang interview, nung nagsisimula din kami sa House, hindi naman ganun kasigasig din ang suporta ng napakaraming congressman katulad ng numerong eventually nag-endorse. Yes, marami ang sumusuporta sa impeachment, pero marami din yung mga medyo nagdadalawang isip. Una, dahil hindi naman sila kasama nung exercise natin nung 19th Congress. 1/3 of Congress, hindi naman mga congressmen. Doong in-impeach namin siya nung nakaraang taon. Pangalawa, syempre, hindi naman natin makakaila kasi nagbabasa din naman kami ng newspaper, tinitignan din naman namin sa Facebook, ang popularidad ng pangalawang Pangulo, di ba? But the process kasi allowed us to clarify our position, especially nung nilabas na yung mga ebidensya. Doon talaga, lumabas na rin yung suporta ng mga congressman. Kasi hindi pwedeng baguhin o hindi mo pwedeng i-distort yung katotohanan na pinapakita ng mga numero ng dokumento eh. You cannot change that eh. Eventually, that became more than compelling for 200 plus, way above the expected number of the members of Congress to agree to the impeachment, to find probable cause in the impeachment of the Vice President. I expect the same for the Senate. I cannot say at the moment. I'm sure at the moment, klarado yung, sabi mo nga, yung interplay ng political dynamics. Pero may tiwala ako that the process is so designed, no? The process so designed na pag nailabas na yung ebidensya, nakita na ilatag ng prosecution ng kanilang kaso, in the end, magkakaroon ng pagkakataon ng mga senador na, kumbaga, timbangin kung saan dapat ang kanilang loyalty, sa politika ba o sa taong bayan.
Gamitin ko lang yung May survey ng Okta. Kay Congressman pa rin po, bago kay Prof. Lumalabas po doon halos 7 sa bawat 10 Pilipino ay pabor doon sa impeachment. Ibig bang sabihin po nito, yung numero po ba na ito ay sapat para tutulan o igupo yung tangka para patayin yung proseso ng impeachment?
Sa totoo lang ho, while the numbers are very encouraging, 7 out of 10 Filipinos in favor of the impeachment, and I think the number continues to be steady across the line, I would rather na ituon natin talaga sa ebidensya. It's not the popularity or the unpopularity of the opinion that should determine the outcome. It should be the evidence that should determine the outcome. Hindi lang naman ang Vice President ang nasasakdal dito eh. What is being placed on trial is our democracy. Diba? Yung katatagan ng ating mga institusyon, ang tiwala ng taong bayan sa ating mga institusyon, dapat kasama ho yun sa equation. Bagamat encouraging at to be honest, we feel validated to a certain extent, no? Pero ako personally naniniwala na mas mahalagang nakatuon tayo sa ebidensya. Let the evidence speak for itself. And let that be the basis for the outcome of the impeachment trial.
Yung pong let the evidence speak, panawagan po para kanino yun?
I mean, sa lahat yan. Sa lahat. Sa Senado, sa prosekusyon, sa mga taong nanonood. Alam ko kasi sa panahon natin yun, madala tayo ng mga pananaw natin sa politika, to our political loyalties, to our political interests. And we're not denying that, no? But if ever the nation would have to decide through our senators, I hope the measure is the evidence, not political loyalties. The measure should be how the process was carried out, no? Not to favor one interest over the other.
Okay. So si Professor naman.
Siguro dagdag lang sa sinabi ni Congressman, no, na when Okta organized that probe, ang basic question namin was not about what was the probe's outcome? 69%, nearly 7 out of 10 Filipinos are in support of an impeachment trial. So it's important to understand that they're not supporting conviction. What they're supporting is a process. And that's significant because when you go down to the other probes, we asked those who were pro-Duterte why they were supporting the process. Again, it's also for accountability. They want a process to clear her name. So one side of the country is saying, let's use the process to clear her name. The other side, when you go up north, Balance Luzon, NCR, and some parts of Visayas, the perspective changes. Pananagutan, no? Okay? And this is important because ang everyday Filipino matalino nuance siya, hindi siya pro o anti lang. Nakikita nila yung proseso, tama sinabi ni Congressman, as a way to move forward, no? Importanteng maintindihan natin kababayan na ang ating constitution ginawa para sa kanila, no? And the provision of the constitution that talks about impeachment talks about accountability for the people, not for political parties or political groups. So important yung sinabi ni Congressman Isidre on this. And sa Okta Research, yun nga, this study was in the first quarter. We're releasing one next week. Okay, so we're just clarifying the data. Tumaas ba yung number tumaas ba yung support for the impeachment? Bumaba ba? Okay, again, the question here is not about the outcome, convicted ba o hindi. Ang pinag-uusapan yung proseso. And 87% of our kababayans are aware of the impeachment process. Mataas ho yung awareness. Now, aware ba sila sa detalye ng kaso? Hindi po. Pero aware sila na may prosesong nagaganap. At yung proseso na to, inaasahan, and again, we have another question i-release namin next week para sa media, ano ba inaasahan nila sa impeachment? And what seems to be clear is the everyday Filipino wants an impeachment na tapat, okay, pantay-pantay, patas, no, at maayos, regardless of the outcome. And I was misquoted in the press yesterday. Gusto ko lang i-emphasize yung sinabi ni Congressman kasi I share the same belief, no? Na right now, the process is just starting, and I have confidence that the Senate, no, in the end, will do its part, its constitutional duty, will hear the case. Whatever the outcome is, my sense of the numbers is that Filipinos will accept it as long as it is exactly that. Fair, honest, no, and orderly. So yun ang gusto ho ng ating mga kababayan, no, isang patas, maayos na paglilitis. No? And of course, gaya nga nasabi ng ating Senate President, di ba? The truth shall set everyone free. So as long as it's evidence-based, feeling ko ang mga kababayan natin will accept the process. Whatever the outcome, ha? Whatever the outcome. Basta evidence-based yan at maayos yung trial, people will accept it. Pero of course, that's assuming, of course, na magagawin ng Senate, and I believe kaya naman gawin ng Senate, yung role nila in this particular process. Yun lang.
Pero sabi nyo ang data ng first quarter, 87% awareness. Out of that 87, almost 70 in favor of impeachment trial. Pero syempre, trial ang sinasabi doon sa tanong ninyo. So may kanya-kanyang pananaw yung tao eh. Kung ano yung gusto niyang, maaaring sa 70% na yon, naniniwala na kaya sila gusto sa trial para makitang inosente yung isa. Merong naniniwala na para makitang guilty yung isa. Ang tanong ko po sa inyo, kasi may binanggit kayo na kung ba't sinuportahan ng tao eh, tapat, patas, maayos.
Patas at maayos.
Opo. So, siyempre, pananaw ng tao yun eh. Value niya yun eh.
Tama.
Hindi ho kaya pag nakita nilang nagigipit yung kanilang idolo eh, mawawala ang kanilang pagtingin, ang paggalang doon sa impeachment. May ganyan tao eh. Bakit sabi nga nila, wala, parang pag-ibig daw yan eh. Walang mandamos.
Maaari, no? Sir, maaari, no? Pero again, ang proseso ho kasi ng paglilitis, hindi naman lahat ng ating mga kababayan familiar sa proseso na yan. Mawawala ang emosyon dyan, lalo na pagka dinaan mo sa proseso. Ito yung ebidensya. At maganda to kasi education to para sa atin lahat. Ako naman, hindi ako eksperto dito. Pero pagka nakikita mo yung legal process, kasi isang prosesong legal rin ng impeachment eh. May trial rules yan. At makikita nating evidence on both sides, kasi makikita nila na ito pala ang hustisya sa ating bayan. Yung taong may kaso, may chance siyang i-defend sarili niya, tapos may ebidensya rin syempre against sa may prosecution defense. That is good for democracy kasi nakikita ng mga tao na ito yung judicialization ng ating legal process, ng ating political process through the impeachment. Maganda yan kasi ma-orderly. Lalo pag orderly yan, maintindihan ng taong bayan, ito pala yung mga issues, ito pala talagang katotohanan, and they'll be able to make a judgment. Pero right now, marami sa aming survey nagsasabi, hindi nila alam yung detalye ng kaso. Napaka-konti pa lang ang nakakaintindi ng kaso. And the more that this process moves forward, the better informed they will be. And I'm sure, ang mga kababayan natin, and ang OCTAD, nandito pa since COVID times, nakikita namin na pag better informed ang mga kababayan natin, mas empowered sila.
So, po, naniniwala kayo na may kakayahan na ang karaniwang kagaya namin ng mga Pilipino na mag-weigh ng pros and cons. Kaya lang, pagka, imagine, sa bansa natin, pinagtatalunan ng meaning ng forthwith. Hindi ko kaya ganun din yung karaniwang mamamayan ng definition o pag-unawa sa isang bagay ay hindi nakasandal sa kaalaman. Kung hindi nakasandal sa kung ano yung kanyang, emosyon.
Pwede, no? Pwede. Pero of course, yan ang role ng media eh. Kaya nga tayo nandito, yung academe, is to explain things to our everyday Filipinos. Okay, ano yung nangyari dun sa case ngayong araw na pag-usapan, di ba? The more our kababayan, and may kumpiyansa sa ating mga kababayan, no, na yes, may mga pananaw sila, and you won't believe it kahit naman anong outcome ng impeachment ito for the side of, let's say, VP Duterte, malakas pa rin ang suporta sa kanya. This is survey data talking na. We will release this, of course, no? Kahit she will look guilty in that process, her support will not wane very much, no? There's still a very strong core of voters who are really pro-Duterte, whatever the outcome is. But a large number of our kababayans are undecided eh.
Prof, may,
So yun ang number of Filipinos who will be in a sense educated, di ba? Empowered to make a decision. And here the outcome may be convict or not convict. That's not the issue now. The issue is how our everyday Filipinos, gaya na sabi ni Congressman, will be swayed by the narratives. Kasi this will be not just a war of evidence eh. It will also be a war of narratives in the end. So, ang sabi nga namin sa Okta, yung impeachment is not just a constitutional process na kailangan maganap, conversion process rin po siya, parang religious process. Kasi either mako-convince ka or hindi, no? And that's also why it has to move forward. At sana maging tapat, maging maayos sa Senado.
Aba, Prof, kayo nagsasabi din ng popularity, ano? Obviously, kaya naman medyo may pangamba o takot yung iba na magsalita tungkol sa isyong ito. Nakasandal naman yung paniniwalang yun na popular yung isang tao. Ang tanong ko po sa inyo, bakit hindi maka-create ng o hindi makapag-mobilize ng maraming tao? Nung week na nagkakagulo sa Senado, nung namaril yung security guard ng Senado ng law enforcers, tumatawag sila ng tao para suportahan. Pero mukhang mukhang pag nag-concert yung Bini, mas marami pang pupunta kaysa doon sa, hinahanap ko yung educate us using your numerical prowess. Bakit walang dumating ng mga tao para iligtas o isalbar yung kanilang mga idolo?
Well, number one, siguro hindi rin natin how should I say this? It was a call at the middle of the night, no? When all of this at night. Yung timing is also an issue, no? These are details, no? But I think the broader answer would be, iba yung pananaw ng mga kababayan natin eh. We have to believe na the everyday Filipino is intelligent. Kasi you guys are the everyday. We are all the everyday Filipinos. No? And when hindi naman tayo yung sunod-sunuran, parang ship na pag sinabi, punta kayo dito. May mga pumunta rin naman, di ba? Pero hindi karamihan. And you have to understand that in NCR and Balanced Zone, if you look at the latest surveys from Okta, sino ho nangunguna sa tandem dito? It's actually alleged. In Balanced Zone and NCR, what we're seeing over the last 2 quarters is a major shift in the perspective of the country in this area. So NCR, Balanced Zone, is moving away from the Duterte, leaning towards Duterte. It's not anymore neutral. So again, the data is available online and we've already given it. All you have to do is look at the regional breakdown. In NCR and Balanced Zone, double-digit na ho ang lead ng opposition against the Dutertes. So here in this area, they're not as popular as they used to be. But in Visayas and Mindanao, they continue to be lalo na in Mindanao, very, very popular. So well, right now, Lenny and Tulfo are extremely popular here. That hypothetical tandem. Now, whether that will happen or not is a big issue. But what it merely says, to answer your question, is, in this part of the country, not only are people critical of these kinds of mass organizing, people have also taken a different view. They're not anymore neutral, they're moving towards a different perspective altogether, which is, I think, more critical. Now, will this trend continue moving forward? Hindi natin alam. Second quarter, meron tayo sa June. Okay.
Prof, was there a portion in the survey that would suggest na naiintindihan talaga ng mga tao, ng mga Pilipino, ng mga respondents, yung konsepto ng impeachment? O baka naman, using yung premise ni Ariel kanina, nagiging popularity lang ito dun sa kanilang pagboto dun sa...
Sa initial probes namin, mahina ho yung pagkakaintindi as far as the evidence is concerned. Now, awareness of the impeachment, they hear it on radio, they watch it on TV, they hear it discussed by their friends and family. So yun ang basic question, a basic understanding of awareness. But when you go deeper into the evidence, hindi na naintindihan yun. Which is also why, when you ask about conviction, ang dami ho undecided. They're still waiting for that evidence. Now, a part of that process has already been elaborated by the House through their own hearings, di ba? So malaking factor yun eh. Hindi pa namin na-measure yun eh. Ang aming survey, January, February, March lang. Natapos yung sa House noong April, no? And doon nagkaroon ng summary, ito na findings namin, ganyan. So we're still measuring that. Number 2, ang tingin namin sa impeachment, sa ongoing process eh. And yung awareness and understanding will actually heighten pag nandun na sa trial period. So, just a point of note, no? Nung June last year, second quarter of 2025, 78% ang pinakamataas na support for the impeachment. Ngayon, 69%. Now, kung tumaas to, then of course, may impact, ibig sabihin yung ginawa ng House, no? In terms of raising awareness about the issue. But ultimately, this is not just a popularity issue. It's not just an issue of public opinion. It's also a legal, constitutional issue. Sana kung matuloy sa Senado to, mas lalo magkakaroon ng clarity ang ating mga kababayan on the issue.
Kanina in passing, you made mention yung NCR at saka yung balance zone. Yung figures, numbers ng pangalawang Pangulo. But can you walk us through yung details naman doon sa known bail weeks ng pangalawang Pangulo? Ano po ang numero niya dito?
Okay. On a one-on-one, again, hypothetical lahat to. This is not deterministic. Hindi ito ang maglalabas sa 2028. In a hypothetical contest, one-on-one, the most popular political figure in our country today is the Vice President, Sara Duterte. She continues to be leading most of the potential candidates. No? What happened in the first quarter was major because, not because she continues to be number one. What is distinct is that in that one quarter, you saw a more than 20 percentage point increase for one candidate, and that's former Vice President Leni Robredo. And I think that's what's notable in that particular quarter. Now, what's the gap? It's between 8 and 12 percentage points. So the gap has narrowed. The competition as far as the perception of everyday Filipinos in the first quarter of 2026 has become different. Hindi na siya one runaway candidate. Now the environment has changed. Now, when we probed, when we organized another probe on tandems naman. So for the first time since for the first time. Okay, last year wala akong tandem nakatalo sa tandem ng Duterte Marcos. Wala akong nakatalo. First quarter, second quarter, third, fourth quarter ng 2025, wala ako. At ang gap ho between 15 to 20 percentage points. Ngayon ho, for the first time, meron hong nakatalo sa hypothetical, and that is the Leni Robredo, Raffy Tulfo tandem, which only was ahead by 4 percentage points. So yun lang yung gap. For the first time, may isang tandem na nalampasan, no? Yung very popular tandem ng Duterte Marcos.
I'm just talking about yung presidential preference dun
Yes,
sa mga
yes,
areas
yes.
ng Prof. But I'm talking about yung support sa impeachment. In the known bail weeks ng pangalawang Pangulo, ano po ang numero niya dito?
Okay,
Nagbago
good.
ba? Or?
Good question. So yung sa impeachment, surprising, it's all across the country kasi 69% nga siya, no? It's highest in Balance Luzon, NCR. There is still above 50% support in Mindanao. In her known bailiwicks, it's also above 50%. So that's Central Visayas. So ang bailiwicks ng ating Vice President would be Central Visayas, maybe at some provinces in Eastern Visayas, no? Most of Mindanao, and of course some parts of small support here in NCR, Balance Luzon. So yun yung ano. So at 69%, you can assume that there's uniform support for it. Now, a second question we raised, which we haven't released also, is ano yung perception, di ba? Iba pala ang perception sa known bailiwicks. Kasi ang tingin nila, ito ay isang paraan for due process. Ito isang paraan para malinis yung kanyang pangalan. Something positive. No? On the other hand, in many places in the north, it's seen as a mechanism for accountability. So iba-iba ho yung komplikado at hindi ho simple ang everyday Filipino. May pananaw ho siya about this issue. And I believe, just like Congressman Asidre, and of course the Senate President, that the truth shall set us free. The more we learn about the case, the evidence, the truth of it, the more informed our citizens will be, and the more empowered they eventually are. Now, why we know this? We saw this in COVID. The more we informed everyday Filipinos, the better they became as citizens, the more organized they were in their own communities. So ang everyday Filipino, basta informed yan. At yan ho yung challenge, yung disinformation. Kasi in our environment today, kung wala kayong regular media, traditional media, at saka organized media, mahirap ho kasi yung disinformation yan ho magiging problema natin moving forward. So importante sa Senate, importante sa House, meron sa kayong spokesperson no, na nag-explain in laymanized, in simple terms, kung ano nangyayari sa proseso. Ay, importante sa akin yung proseso kasi moving forward, 10, 20 years from now, yun ang matatandaan ng tao, hindi yung verdict eh. Matatandaan yung kung kano katapat, kano kaayos, kano ka, how to say this, patas, no, yung proseso. And this will reinforce the view na in the Philippines, may rule of law, which is important for broadening and deepening democracy. Na dito, hindi natin pinagtatakpan yung mga malalakas, mayayaman at saka makapangyarihan sa ating bansa. Lahat sila will have their day in court. And that the court process is a legal process na tapat, maayos, at patas.
May binanggit si Professor, isa ebidensya at saka yung awareness, battle of narratives. Kayo sa Team Pinas, mukhang nabigyan ka ng assignment. Ano bang gagawin nyo para
yun din nga
makarating ang
tatanong ko sa
tamang
kanya.
impormasyon dun sa ating mga kababayan?
How exactly will Team Pinas go about raising public awareness?
Maganda ho
impeachment
nabanggit
process?
nyo na may assignment po kasi Prof. Ranjit po ay guru ko sa political science. Diyan ko po nakuha yung pagmamahal sa institusyon. No, political science professor ko si Prof. Ranjit. Malaking bagay po, no, yung Team Pinas kasi nakatindig sa tatlong bagay. Una, pagsasabi ng katotohanan, truth-telling. No? Regardless kung pabor ba yan sa kahit sinong kandidato at kaninong politika. Katotohanan. Pangalawa, bridge building, pagbubuklod at pagbubuo ng mga samahan, regardless again of political background. At pagbabago, change making na nagbunga sa pagpapatibay ng mga institusyon, pagpapalakas ng civil society at pakikipagtulungan ng kapwa Pilipino. So, yun yung at kaya medyo slide na pasok yung Bantay Senado na sinimulan ng Team Pinas, no, dahil dun sa tatlong bagay na yon. So paliwanag ko lang mabilis, no, kasi nabanggit na may assignment talaga truth-telling. Una na nasabi ni Prof. Ranjit na malaking bagay yung disinformation. Ito yung magiging unang impeachment trial na dominant na ang social media at generative artificial intelligence. No, dati lumaki ako sa unang impeachment trial, crucial sa akin yung second envelope. Nung ako'y lumalaki ng unang impeachment trial. Yung pangalawang impeachment trial kay Chief Justice Corona, nasa infancy pa yung social media. No, wala pang cellphone, wala pang TikTok. Ang medyo nag-iba ngayon, no, ibang complexion sa panahon ng impeachment trial this year is, yun nga, yung disinformation na sinasadya. Ibig sabihin, may infrastructure talaga o may mga taong masamang elementong gustong gumawa na linlangin ng taong bayan. At pinadali ito ng artificial intelligence. Kaya very particular tatlong panawagan ng Bantay Senado. No? Una yung magmatsyag. Yung pool of volunteers ng Bantay Senado, na nagulat kami, nang nagpatawag kami, napakadami kagad nag-volunteer from all over the Philippines. No? Isa yung magbabantay ng impeachment trial. Dahil iba rin po ang complexion, correct me if I'm wrong, ibang procedure dahil nag-update ng rules of procedure yata ang impeachment court compared doon sa hindi ako nakakanood ng Ghost Fighter nung bata kasi walang palabas hanggang gabi. No, yung first at second impeachment trial. Ngayon mas maikli at ngayon pwede nang madali nang ma-live stream, no, kahit ibang channel lang gagawin. Yun, so pagmamatsyag. Pangalawa, yung nabanggit kanina ni Sir na ang layon ng Bantay Senado ay magkaroon ng kagyat o mabilis na pagtitipon ng mga communities, both physical, sa mga barangay, sa mga simbahan, sa mga paaralan, para ipaliwanag sa lengguwahe na payak at naiintindihan ng mga tao. No, sa marketing, uso na yung konsepto ng hyperlocalization o yung mga micro-influencer. Kasi iba-iba na yung mga trip ng mga tao ngayon, no? So, ibig sabihin, yung mga volunteer natin ng mga influencers, guided by our volunteer legal team, ipapaliwanag ano yung nangyari sa proseso kahapon, bakit siya mahalaga. Paano natin titimbangin yung ebidensya? Let's say may pinakitang ebidensya at may pinakitang depensa, pabibigyan natin ng unbiased at grounded doon sa batas na analysis. At i-communicate yan, either English, Tagalog, kung gusto nyo, Youngstana o Genggeng, para maitawid natin yung lengguwahe at maunawaan ng mga kababayan. Yun yung gagawin ng Bantay Senado. At pangatlo, yun yung pangalawa, yung magpaliwanag. Yung pangatlo ay yung mga lampag. Paalala natin sa mga pinuno natin na mahalagang sundan natin, no, at panindigan ng sinumpaang obligasyon bilang una, kung ikaw ay halal na opisyal o ikaw ay nanumpa bilang senator judge. So nakahanda rin yung taong bayan na ipaalala sa ating mga pinuno sa pamamagitan ng Bantay Senado. So yun yung gusto naming challenge, ay yun yung ititake na challenge ng Bantay Senado na sana makatulong din no, sa pagpapaliwanag. Dahil nga, no, Prof. Ranjit, 50% ng mga kababayan natin na wala masyadong kaalaman pa sa impeachment trial. So may uhaw talaga sa kaalaman. At agree naman ang Bantay Senado na naniniwala tayo na sambayan ng Pilipino kapag binigyan mo ng sapat na kaalaman, no, at nakabatay sa batas at sa bagay na nauunawaan at isa sa buhay nila, talagang makikita natin na magkakaroon sila ng tinatawag na informed choice.
Carlo, pardon my innocence or ignorance. Ano yung meaning ng geng-geng?
Ay. So ito yung mga isang subset ng mga grupo na may interpretasyon ng kanilang identidad, no. So itong kumbaga pang subculture, no, may sarili silang lengguwahe, no. So ito yung siguro mga panahon nyo, baka tinatawag mga Jeprox siguro nung araw. Nung mga panahon siguro namin ay mga Jologs, no, na hindi natin ginagawa at nililabel sila para ipahiya, pero dahil yun ang kanilang lived identity. No, at nasa panahon na tayo na maraming mga uri at ibang lengguwahe. Pero isang Pilipinas lang naman kasi yung pinabubuhay natin. Pag hindi naman mas murang gasolina ng geng-geng sa hindi geng-geng 'Di ba? So, ibig sabihin, parehas lang yung kinakaranasan na natin, 'di ba? So, isang init, lahat naman tayo nahi-heat index ng 50. So, sa lengguwahe at sa kapamaraanan na mas angkop sa kanila, yun ang responsibilidad ng Bantay Senado.
Parang yung geng-geng lumabas dun sa BGC yata, yung grupo ng mga kabataan na nanggugulo.
May yung mga Youngstana, no? Kung naging conversation about Youngstana. Ayun nga, kasi lagi nga, yun nga ulit, no? Nagkakaroon ng, magandang halimbawa siguro dahil dapat maaabot din natin itong mga kabataan na to. Dahil itong mga kabataan to, sila rin naman magdidesisyon sa 2028. Baka nga nagdidesisyon na sila ngayon kung sino iboboto. So kaya babalik tayo sa usapin ng informed decision sa lengguwahe kung saan nauunawaan nila. Dahil whether we like it or not, bahagi talaga sila ng civic participation at pagpapalakas ng institusyon.
Carlo, ito naman mula sa pananaw ng mga Jejemon.
Isa rin po akong judge mo.
Tawag dito, yung, wala tuloy. In an ideal world, Carlo, yung mga trial, syempre lahat yan evidence-based. Pero pag ang pinag-uusapan natin, yung proseso ng impeachment, alam naman natin, more than anything else, this is a political exercise, undertaking. Sa mga nangyayaring circus sa Senado, from where your group sits, meron pa bang pag-asa na itong ebidensya ay ma-entertain o talagang raratsadahin all throughout na politika yung kanilang konsiderasyon sa pagpapasya?
Magandang tanong po, no? Naniniwala, isang fundamental fact na political exercise nga ang impeachment. At that being a political process, bahagi yan ay ang taong bayan, ang boses pa rin ng taong bayan ang mananaig sa dulo. Kaya yun nga, nakaangkla siya sa tamang kaalaman at tamang pagkilos. Kasi naman yung mga senador naman natin bilang political exercise, ilan naman sa kanila ay magiging re-electionist. Ilan naman sila ay mananagot sa taong bayan, hindi man ngayon, hindi man sa 2028, sa susunod na re-election or kanilang political career. So doon tayo tataya, kaya pangatlong pundasyon ng Bantay Senado ay mga lampag. At talagang kikilos tayo na talagang ipaalala natin sa kanila na may pagkakataon din. Na tandaan natin pala na hindi lang ang nasasakdal si VP Sara, hindi lang ang Senado ang bahagi ng impeachment trial. Pangatlong pinakamalaga ang taong bayan. So talagang taong bayan naman ang boboto. So kaya yun yung pangatlong mahalaga na kailangan lagpasan ng political yung katotohanan at yung pananaw ng taong bayan.
Okay, Prof, educate us. Kasi marami ako narinig na salita, Jejemon, geng-geng, at iba pa, Jeprox, siguro iba, Thunders. May kanya-kanyang lingwahe ito eh. Ang tanong ko po, ano yung pinakang epektibo? Kasi kita-kita yung pagkakaiba eh. Halimbawa, ang isang lady reporter natin, pag naglakad sa EDSA, pag siguro yung edad ni Professor, ang description, may Diyos ang naglakad sa EDSA o may Diyos ang bumaba sa EDSA. Pagka yung mga bata-bata, magko-comment yan. Anong comment? Hot, amazing, gorgeous, mga ganon. Ano yung lingwahe na may kilig pa rin, may kurot sa puso ng higit na nakararaming Pilipino? Yung language na Butch, yung mga 1960s, o yung language sa amin, mga 2000?
Kung alam ko yung sagot na yun, ako na siguro pinakamayaman na marketer sa Pilipinas. Alam mo, one thing's for sure, na pag tingnan natin yung EDCOM report, tingnan natin yung ibang mga pag-aaral on how we can communicate knowledge to our population, it seems na if we're talking the vernacular, no? Whether it's in Cebuano or ano, but of course the national language, syempre, Tagalog natin, kahit simpleng-simple, for the media people, importante ho yung mas maraming impormasyon makarating sa mas maraming tao. Definitely, itong legal process na napaka-complex. Alam mo ho, ang everyday Filipino ho, hindi naintindihan yung duces, teko, mga ganyan. So, anybody who is able to translate this and in a society na because of social media, 30 seconds lang ang hindi nga 30 seconds, baka 10 seconds lang ang kailangan ho talaga, may mga lawyers natin na gusto nag-volunteer sa amin, no? Like for example, we have this very articulate lawyer na na-meet ko, si Attorney Dino De Leon, no? Na he's able to make things simple for the everyday Filipino to understand. Kasi in the end, ito legal process rin to, hindi lang siya political, legal, constitutional process. At importanteng maintindihan ng ating mga kababayan yung implikasyon. Hindi lang yung saan nangyari, describing it, pero ba't nangyari to, no? And I guess yun ang challenge for the whole of media today, how to articulate to the greatest number. And I think if the EDCOM report is any basis, it's really talking in the language of the everyday Filipino, which is speaking in Filipino, speaking in the vernacular, no? So, malaking hamon to. And pag-uusap nga kami ni Congressman Jude, na nung panahon namin may EDSA, no? Panahon ni Carlo, siguro EDSA 2, no? EDSA 2 ako. Ay, EDSA 2 ka pala. Oh my God. So, mas matanda pa pala ako kay Kong Jude. EDSA ako. So, EDSA 2. Hindi, EDSA 1 kayo. Nakita ko kayo sa daan nun eh. So, yun yung point ko eh. So, itong impeachment process na to, which is constitutional. Wala tayong magagawa. May nag-complain. Gaya nga sabi ni Kong Jude, it's their constitutional duty. If this is done right, this is going to be an educational experience, apart from being a political process, a constitutional process, for the everyday Filipino. It will show the majesty of the political process in both the Senate and the House, and it will imprint to the everyday Filipino of this generation. Meron palang accountability, may pananagutan pala. Hindi pala totoo, although marami naniniwala, na hindi pantay-pantay yung hustisya sa atin bayan. So, ito, monumental process to, historic process to. At for the senators who are, di ba sinabi, nag-usapan rin ni Carlo, gustong ma-re-elect, I think their role here, the more neutral, professional they are here, the more everyday Filipinos will appreciate their contribution to this ongoing process. Whatever the outcome is, whether it's convict or not. Importante yung proseso. Nakita natin yung impact sa image ng dating yumaong Senate President Juan Ponce Enrile, who managed the impeachment of Corona, CJ Corona, no? Supreme Court Justice Corona, no? And talaga naayos yung image niya doon. No? Kasi nga pinakita niya yung neutrality. And I think tama yung sinabi ni Kong Jude, in the end, the evidence should be the basis. Why? When you look at the latest Okta surveys on 2028 presidential race, hypothetical, nag-iiba na yung bansa. Hindi na siya dapat magiging basis for deciding who should you support in the impeachment because the country is changing already. It's changed. Hindi na dominant ang isang group. That's what the survey is basically saying. And if it continues to be that way, that question is the question of boboto ba akong yes or no, or convict or not convict dahil mahihirapan ako sa pro-Duterte place. Hindi na yun ang magiging issue ngayon. It should just be the evidence. Because that's why the political environment has changed. We didn't see this change last year. We saw this change in 1 quarter, and we're not the only survey company who saw it. So dapat yung part na yun, hindi na dapat maging issue yun for those neutral judges, or for those senator judges we have in the impeachment court. It should just be based on the evidence. Because the popularity thing is changing. Taking one side because of politics actually might be a detriment to them long term. Because the country is moving in a different direction already.
Prof, ay, sige, go.
If I
You
may
want to say
add, no?
something?
I know every generation speaks a particular language, but it would be good to point out na despite the differences in the language or the attitude or the behavior, may mga enduring Filipino values kasi. May mga values na define us, like ano ang in-expect natin sa gobyerno, ano yung klaseng lipunan gusto natin maging. At despite the differences and the divergences from every generation to the next, I think kitang-kita naman ng tao. Ang mahalaga lang, siguro challenge din sa amin sa Kamara bilang part, kahit hindi ako prosecution, no? Pero bilang part sa parte ng prosecution, is to make sure that our language, the way we present the case, would speak to the reality of ordinary Filipinos. Yun ang mahalaga. Lalong-lalo na sa panahon na may kinakaharap tayong mga krisis. Sabi nga nila, ang panahon ng krisis ay palaging panahon ng posibilidad. In 2001 ba yun? EDSA II, Erap was a very popular president. The Senate was dominated by his allies. But it changed the perception of the people, yung evidence, yung proseso, at alam naman natin ang nangyari thereafter. Kaya ako may tiwala sa prosesong ito kung makikita lang ng taong bayan ang stake nila, ang papel nila sa nangyayaring ito. Dapat doon natin makita yun eh. Yung mga senador na kumampi sa dating Pangulong Estrada among the more popular senators who eventually lost in the election thereafter that followed in 2001 election after the EDSA. So, hindi ito bago na pangyayari. Hindi ito first time na mag-i-impeach tayo na napaka-popular na leader. Ginawa na natin to dati. Kailangan lang, katulad nga sinabi ni Prof. Ranjit, this is the defining moment for this generation. Walang isang sanin lahi, walang isang generation that receives a perfect nation. Palaging may room for improvement ang pagka-Pilipino. Palaging may room for improvement ang Pilipinas. Ito ang panahon natin to make that improvement.
Prof, doon po sa survey ninyo itong May resulta, kapuna-puna po doon yung bahagyang pagpalo pataas at pagsaud-dos ng numero ng Pangulo at pangalawang Pangulo in terms of performance and trust rating. Pwede po ba nating sabihin o na may kinalaman yung impeachment sa usapin na ito, una. At pangalawa, doon po sa lingering notion, lalo na sa pangalawang Pangulo, na all this time parang ang tingin ng mga tao sa kanya, lalo na sa mga komento sa social media, na non-performing yung pangalawang Pangulo.
Yung nire-refer niyo po na survey, hindi ho sa survey company namin yun. Pero so I can't comment on it. But yung survey na nilabas ng Okta, which is available again, ang dalawang divergent trends na lumabas. Number one, bumaba ho ang performance rating ng Vice President. Nag-improve yung performance rating ng Presidente, pati yung kanyang trust rating. But that was before the major crisis na dulot ng ating Middle East conflict. So ngayon, second quarter, which we're going to do in June, tingnan natin kung dumausdos nga ang numbers niya. We don't know, no? But what was notable is for the first time, bumagsak yung numbers ng Vice President, lalo na sa performance. So again, consistent siya sa nakikita namin nung first quarter. Naging critical ang NCR at Balance Luzon. Doon siya pinakamababa. Just to give you a sense, yung performance rating niya dito ay less than 50%. And hindi namin nakikita yan last year. So, nagiging critical yung isang malaking parte na ating bansa. If you look at the voting population of NCR and Balance, that's more than 50%. Around 56, less than 60%. So, nagiging critical na sila doon sa mga tao nagpo-perform at hindi nagpo-perform. Yun ang nakita naming finding. Now, number 2 finding, mataas pa rin yung trust at saka performance ng dalawang leaders natin. Ang nag-improve talaga ng malaki yung presidente. But that was January, February, March. After that, hindi na natin alam. So, etong second quarter, tingnan natin kung nag-improve nga talaga. But, the second quarter was very hard for the everyday Filipino. And this is why importante i-emphasize to both houses of Congress, lalo na budget season na ang talagang pangunahing urgent national concern ng everyday Filipino, yung top 3 yan, di ba? Yung presyo ng bilihin, inflation, wages, no? At saka yung access to affordable food. At saka pag-aapat siguro, trabaho. Yeah. Yan ang importanteng kailangan di natin makalimutan habang nilitis natin yung impeachment sa Senado na both houses should focus on what Filipinos yearn. They yearn for a solution to the everyday problems and they're all economic. So yan yung top 4 concerns. Pero wag lang kalimutan, no? 26%. And again, this was already released 2-3 weeks ago of our kababayans look at corruption, ending corruption, fighting corruption as an important, urgent concern. Now, in the last 3 years, was that top 5? No. Naging issue lang yan last quarter, fourth quarter of 2025. It continues to be a top 5 issue in 2026. So, intindihin nyo majority are economic, pero may isang political issue na pinasok yung ating mga kababayan. Sa mga kababayan natin, nakikita nila yung hirap ng buhay, kailangan ng tulong, kailangan ng ayuda, kailangan ng government programs to help the poor. Pero may one political issue na sinasabi sila, fighting corruption. 26%, more than a fourth of our population, adult population, think it continues to be an urgent issue. Was it an urgent issue last year? 2 years before? Hindi. Was it a top 10 issue? Yes. Pero ngayon, it continues to be an issue. So, dapat yun ang focus ho ng House. At actually, sa probes ng OCTA, ang pinaka-importanting lumalabas, yung urgent, national, at personal concerns. Kung matalino yung mga politiko, yun lang babasahin nila eh. Yun ang agenda nila for the next year. Kasi yun ho ang sinasabi ng mga kababayan sa question na yun, ano ang dapat bigyan ng pansin ng solusyon ng ating gobyerno in the next 3 months. So ano yun? Economic issues. Talagang yung presyo ng bilihin, inflation, yung kita, trabaho, yan mga issues. Pero ngayon, ang sinasabi lang namin sa survey, meron pang isang bago, which is corruption. And 2 quarters na siya nasa top 5. So, importante itong pag-investigasyon sa flood control, pero mas importante yung mga solusyon. Ano yung gagawin natin moving forward to prevent corruption from becoming, systemic, at matigil na yan. So again, trabaho ng House at saka Senate yan kasi yung power of the purse nasa kanila eh. So sana hindi yung matanggal yung focus habang ginagampanan natin yung constitutional rules natin dito sa impeachment.
Yung merong survey na that showed negative 3% net satisfaction rating with BBM. Ano sa tingin nyo ang naging cost nito? At ano yung dapat gawin ni BBM to offset this negative perception ng tao?
Siguro, hindi ako makaka-comment dun sa survey ng, kasi may ethical practice kami among survey companies not to comment on each other's surveys. But it mirrors, in a sense, yung urgent national and personal concern survey ng OCTA. I think the focus is the economy. It has been since the start of the end of COVID. It should have been the focus ever since 2022, and it continues to be the key problem today dahil nga sa conflict sa Middle East. And dapat dyan yung mga issues na pwedeng pag-usapan siguro sa Congress, yung matagal ng issue ng minimum wage, di ba? Or expanding yung non-monetary benefits na pwedeng kuhain ng everyday worker natin. Number 2, a rethink of our own regulatory framework, lalo sa energy, sa petroleum. No? Ang daming pwede hong, of course, yung agricultural development. Ang key issue here is that now that people have a heightened awareness, bukas na yung isip ng ating kababayan, nag-aaral sila, nakikialam sila, at yun nga, most likely makikilahok na rin sila pag hindi magbago ang sitwasyon ng pamumuhay nila, which is hindi mag-improve yung economic situation. So yan ang focus ng executive. That should be the focus of the House. And yeah, you look at all the survey companies, the most important probe is the urgent national and personal concerns survey. Because that mirrors the everyday Filipino. That's a Filipino, everyday Filipino, talking through the survey. Ito ho ang problema namin, hindi yung impeachment, hindi yung bangayan ng mga political elites natin. Etong everyday, dapat may solusyon tayo. No? A second part dun sa personal survey on personal concerns, number 1 yung health. For everyday Filipinos, getting sick is a big issue. Whether it's the rich, the middle class, or the poor. Because it will devastate anyone eh. wala kasing strong support ang Estado for healthcare. We have PhilHealth, but we need to improve. Diba? We've been fighting for PhilHealth, resources, but we need to expand the benefits. Diba? And maybe that's a key focus for the House moving forward. How do we make healthcare more affordable for the everyday Filipinos? Because again, survey after survey, year after year, whether it's Okta or the other survey companies, ito malaking issue to sa ating mga kababayan. Ano yung mga nagbago? Education, bumababa na. Kasi access to education nag-improve na over the last 10 years. So bumababa yung concern para sa kanya. Ang concern ngayon, kung magkasakit ako, saan ako pupunta? And we need to expand that immediately. Yan, urgent na yan eh. So for everyday Filipinos, they're talking to the surveys, and these are the most effective probes, not those probes on impeachment, because these things change eh. Ito, continues to be long-standing. Issue ng jobs, nag-improve. Kasi may employment improvements in third and fourth quarter, but they were not so significant. Ang key issue talaga is prices. Pero wala naman masyado magagawa ang gobyerno dyan. Pero sa wages, baka pwedeng pasukan, no? Non-monetary. Sa jobs, baka may pwedeng gawin ng gobyerno sa budget para mat-pump prime yung economy in the next year. So yun lang, sir. I think yun ang...
Hello. Ayan. Alison ko po from ABS-CBN News. Question lang, no? Can I have your opinion, sir, sa teleconferencing sa Senate? I heard pag-uusapan nila possibly ito sa next week. Any reactions to that?
Alam mo sa House, ginagawa namin yung committee hearings on teleconferencing. I think since nangyari yung COVID, it has become part of the process. Now, I would want to avoid making a comment on how the Senate should run its may ethical, meron din kami courtesy sa isa't isa. Pero insofar as the impeachment is involved, kasi that's where we have participation, we feel that, I personally feel that, it's very necessary for one to participate physically. Kasi you're not sitting as a legislator eh. You're sitting as a senator judge. And the language, the tenor of the language, the behavior of the witness, those are things that cannot be reflected by online participation. I think katulad ng sinabi ni Professor Ranch, gusto natin patas, maayos, credible yung proseso. Dapat yung participation din ng mga senator judges should reflect that intent to make sure na credible yung proseso. Eh paano ka naman magiging huwes kung hindi mo makikita kung paano gumalaw yung witness, paano yung dynamics ng pagtanong ng prosecution or defense with the witness. So those are things that are critical towards making a sound judgment, which in that case, I would agree na hindi makakatulong kung hindi natin magagawa kung magkakaroon ng online participation.
I-rephrase ko yung tanong niya. Yung mampugante, pwedeng judge.
Well, to be honest, the Constitution, I don't want to go beyond what the Constitution does not qualify. Diba? Habang senador sila at habang hindi pa naman sila convicted by final conviction, no, umabot sa final conviction, they will have to exercise. But we will have to apply the law. Siyempre, there's a standing warrant of arrest, and pag nagpakita kayo, siyempre, kailangan ipatupad ng mga ng authorities yung arrest. No? That is how a country based on rule of law functions, di ba? Mahalaga yon. Pero mahirap kasi sabihin dahil pugante kasi sa ngayon hindi pa naman theoretically there's nothing that bars them from participating. Ngunit they have to be accountable also for the kasi hindi ibang kaso naman yun eh. Sa AJK naman yun. Ibang pananagutan yun.
Okay. Tom, hindi lang po yun ang tinutukoy ko. May posibilidad na maging pugante rin yung iba. At may posibilidad na nasa loob ng karusel yung iba.
Well, considering the sensitivity of the process of the impeachment, I would rather not comment. No? on what is the possibility of what could possibly happen to some members of the Senate. But safe to say, no, katulad ng sinabi ni Senator Lacson, even those who might be under detention during the time of the trial, they can always ask the courts for them to participate. Pero that again would depend on the appreciation of the court. That would depend on the appreciation of the Senate also as a body. Pero three things. Una, until they're finally convicted, they remain to be members of the Senate. So it's not just a matter of right, it's a matter of responsibility for them to appear. Diba? Kailangan nilang mandun pa rin. Pangalawa, you cannot deflect one's accountability because of this also. If they are facing other cases, then that's their accountability to that cases. That's how democracy works, diba?
Kung ito hindi payagang bumoto o payagang bumoto, politically speaking, pareho lang naman yun eh. It's a vote for acquittal. Hindi po ba? Ito pag yung hindi ako gabanggit, yung several na tao na pwedeng gumamit kung papayagan yung pamamaraan ng pagboto by electronic means. Eh ngayon pa lang naman, alam niyo naman iboboto nun eh. Kung umabsent man sila, vote for acquittal din yun eh.
Well, eventually yes. If you put the numbers together, yes. Pero we don't want kasi to make these comments before things happen, 'di ba? I don't want to preempt the decision of the Senate. I don't want sinasabi ko lang, klaro yung batas, sinasabi ng konstitusyon na hindi sila nagkwa-qualify. At habang wala pang final conviction, they remain to be members of the Senate. So for me, it's not just a matter of preference, it's a matter of their own accountability as elected officials. Second, kung meron man silang hinaharap na kaso sa ibang sa korte or sa kung saan man, yun yung pananagutan nila yun. And it does not, they can't also use their being a senator not to fulfill that part of that accountability. So, pakatlo, mahalaga is, syempre, we withhold naman judgment on our senators. Kasi wala pa naman yung trial, di ba? And I'm sure, the same way that these are questions na tinitignan natin, marami din sa mga kababayan natin, tinatanong din yan. At kung ako, mas magbabantay sila sa mga desisyon ng mga taong ito.
Kung ako po si JC from TV5. Kung si Congressman Paulo Marcoleta, in a video, he claimed na yung virtual voting ay matagal na raw pong ginagawa sa Kamara. And yung sinabi niya, hindi ko maintindihan kung bakit sa Senado ay hindi nila pwedeng isagawa ito. Pareho lang naman ang trabaho ng Kamara at Senado. Pareho lang silang gumagawa ng batas. Baka meron po kayong paglilinaw po doon.
Well, kaya nga sinasabi ko, sa House, ginagawa naman talaga namin. Although hindi siya blanket. At definitely hindi dahil aresto ka or you're basically, for lack of a better word, a fugitive from justice. That has never been a ground, di ba? You're allowed to vote. In fact, you have to write the speaker to be allowed to vote because you're on official business or you're outside the country, especially when it's part of legislation. And that's even allowed even before. Nung wala pang online, on official business ka, you can write the rules to register your vote for a voting that has already been done before. So it's nothing new. Ginagawa talaga yan. But this is another. That's why I qualify. Pag impeachment kasi, you sit not just as a legislator. You sit as a senator judge. Kailangan mong tignan paano ba sumagot yung witness, paano ba siya magsalita, ano yung tenor, paano ba siya tinatanong, paano ba siya sumasagot dun sa tanong. Those are things that I don't think you can adequately infer or determine if you're participating online. So that's my only concern.
Tapos kasi sir, merong statement si Deputy Speaker Paulo Ortega na yun daw remote participation is only allowed during pandemics, extraordinary circumstances.
Well, that's for the sessions, the participation. Yung voting kasi yung tinanong mo kanina, we can actually write. But that's only for the legislation, di ba? Kasi ang premise doon, nakaparticipate ka na sa committee, nakaparticipate ka sa debates. Kasi our vote is recorded on the third reading. yun ang may roll call vote. Eh kung nag-participate ka na sa committee, nag-participate ka na sa second reading, sa plenary debates, I would surmise that you are perfectly capable of registering a vote on the third reading. So that's a totally different thing. Now, the impeachment is different. You will have the witness there, you will have the prosecution on one side, the defense on one side. That requires your full attention. It's not comparable. And I think it's unfair to the institution, it's unfair to the people to make them look the same. They are not the same.
Tapos sir, last, di ba yung issue nga dyan po sa remote participation, naging mainit yung debate dyan sa Senate, which eventually led to the walkout of some minority senators. Concern po ba among lawmakers yung possible po na kawalan ng quorum, considering nga po na given itong mga differences between the majority and the other lawmakers, given nga po na sa July na po yung impeachment?
Well, questions of quorum, questions of all these things are best determined by the rules of the respective house. So the Senate will have, I have to concede, they have full competence on how to proceed as to the determination of their quorum, how to compel attendance. Sa kanila yun, sagutin nila yun sa institusyon at sa taong bayan. So, mahirap kami mag-comment doon. Katulad niya sabi ni Prof, may courtesy kami doon. So, I can only speak from the perspective of the House. No? Sa amin, we make sure that when it's important voting, we ask the party leaders to ensure the attendance of their members. Kaya nga kami may party leaders before every significant vote kasi it's part of reminding the members. Hindi naman ho kasi a matter of personal preference ang pag-attend sa Congress kung ikaw ay congressman. Kung ikaw ay congressman, tungkulin mo namang magpakita at mag-attend. So I think I would want to take it from that particular perspective. And I would like to pose the same questions to the member of the Senate. Diba? Paano nyo ba i-treat ang attendance sa House, sa chamber? Ito ba'y a matter of personal preference? Ito ba'y a personal privilege? Or do you take it with a sense of responsibility bilang isang halal na opisyal?
Double B. Sir, one question lang. Next week, may usap-usapan na naman na magkakaroon ng Senate coup. May epekto ba to or makaka-apekto ba to doon sa preparasyon ng Kamara sa impeachment?
Well, the Senate leadership issue is a Senate issue. No? We would rather be focused. I am sure the prosecution are ready to present their case whether or not there is a change of leadership, whether or not it's someone else who's Senate President. Kasi in the end, we just have to fulfill our role. And we have full trust that the Senate as an institution also will fulfill their part. So ganun lang kasimple ang expectations ng Kamara. Ako personally, unless there is a matter of the scheduling or the composition of the reorganization of the chamber, that could cause in some delay. But kung masasabi nating madidiril, I don't think so.
Please refresh my memory. Di ba sa Kongreso, sa House of Representatives, meron kayong tinanggal dahil sa absences at merong nag-request ng online participation pero hindi pinayagan kasi nagtatago yung kongresistang yun.
Well, that's a different case naman because that was an ethics case against him, di ba? So, iba yun. That was a different situation. Kasi katulad, like for example, because that's an analogous situation, although not a perfect comparison, no? Kasi he was being called not as a member of Congress, but also as a respondent to an ethics case. So that was also part of the basis. But then again, it wasn't the only criteria. That was not the only basis.
But non-attendance is one.
Non-attendance could be one of the grounds.
Philip, wala. Okay. Sige. At this point, we'd like to thank our resource persons for today. Tingog Party List Representative Jude Asidre for giving us an update on House preparations for the impeachment trial of the Vice President. Octa Research and UP Professor Ranjit, ano? Ajit pala yung tatay mo. Singray, na director ng Octa Research. And Carlo Flores, executive director ng Team Pinas, na convener ng Bantay Senado Initiative, na mag-monitor ng proceedings ng impeachment trial. Maraming salamat sa inyong lahat. Maraming salamat din sa media na patuloy na nagko-cover sa atin. Thank you. We'll see you next Saturday.